Hello. Today I am babysitting this little cutie face at my friend T's house. So I thought it was a really good opportunity to explore a different kitchen, and she's got a couple things in her garden that I don't have where I live, so I can play with some different flavors. Okay, bye. Goodbye, Zelda. Go play. Don't play with me and my food. So before I start cooking, I need to wash my hands. Great. Now we're ready for some food. Let me tell you what I've got to get things started. I stopped at the store before I came here and I grabbed some organic ingredients because I wasn't sure what this kitchen was going to have. So I got 2 different kinds of pears. I don't really know about these pears. This one's kind of softish, this one's kind of hard. I'm going to play with both of them and see how that goes. Then I got an acorn squash that I have already cut in half and roasted because this process takes an hour. So that guy is ready. I like to limit my palette, my food palette, to just a few ingredients. So I have 7 things today. We've got the pears, acorn squash, I have a yellow onion, what is this? An avocado, coconut oil, salt, and rosemary. Fresh rosemary from the garden, from T's garden. So I'm going to have fun exploring this guy and seeing how its flavors mix with my sweet and savory flavors. Alright, first I'm going to start with a pan. I've got it warmed up already, and I'm going to cook with coconut oil today. Coconut oil is a little bit sweeter, I think. Yeah. It's got a little bit different flavor than olive oil. And when you cook it, it opens up the flavor a little bit too. So this is what I'm going to fry my onions in today, and I'm going to see what it's like. I don't actually know. I've never done this before. This is what's fun about food, is exploring food without worry of what's going to happen. Just dive in and find out. Alright, onion. This onion is huge, so I'm just going to use half of it. The bigger half. So, something that I enjoy thinking about a lot in my life is the purpose of life. I've always kind of pondered that. But sometimes life kind of gets in the way, and there's a lot of things going on, and there's times that I've forgotten to think about it. Think about the purpose of life. Think about what it is that I'm doing, what the purpose is of my day-to-day actions. Well, 4 years ago, my mom passed away. And up until that point, I had gotten really involved in the day-to-day just activities, responsibilities, stresses, and didn't think about that very much. But when she passed away, it really shocked me. into the way that it just made me think about, what is the purpose of this? We live, we die. You know, what is the purpose of her being alive, and where do all those memories go? And some people believe in God and that you get to keep that with you. And I didn't necessarily know where my beliefs sat. Well, I'm not really a believer in God per se, but I do believe that there is a spiritual purpose to all of this, and I think that's something that most of us can identify with. For me, I am more of a humanist, a universalist type thinker, believer. I feel like evolution makes sense. And in the evolution of the universe, where the universe started, was something very simple. The first element, helium, right? Helium? Hydrogen. Hydrogen. The first element. And then it came together and exploded into a higher vibration, which then came helium, and then they came together and exploded into a higher vibration. And over a long period of time, these explosions of expansion happened into more and more complex systems and structures. Until life came to a point where life needed to start eating other forms of life in order to continue expansion. And what expansion is a vibration rising. The vibration of each expansion is a higher vibration until we came to human life. As far as we know, humans are the most complex being on this planet. Wood spoon, stir my onions. So, with all of this thought of the purpose of life and expansion and raising vibrations and the complexities of life and life being stressful, I think it's just that simple, that we are complex beings, and the purpose is to expand into ever more complex systems and beings, to rise up, to raise our vibration. I sound like I'm preaching. I am. Preaching to myself. Preaching to my choir right here. Well, for me, it has come to a very simple understanding that one of the things that brings me the most joy in life, something that I have seen be the purpose of life, not just for myself, but for many animals, for many life, is eating. Hunting our food, gathering it, creating it, playing with it, and enjoying it. But if the purpose is to do so in expansion and raising our vibration, I want to do so with foods that help me do that, which is why I am more intentional about the foods that I am putting together. Organic ingredients grown from plants is the base of my food creativity. It's a little challenging because I grew up in a world of eating a lot of processed foods, a lot of meats and dairy and sugar and wheat. That was my main diet growing up. There were very few fruits and vegetables in the palate. I look at it all as a blessing now, because now I'm really drawn to those fruits and veggies. I'm drawn to finding different ways to satiate my needs rather than going back to the same old ways of doing it. And I'll tell you what, I feel really good when I do it. I'm not perfect. A couple days ago, I just kind of lost my mind and I just dove right into some of my old habits. I got really hungry and I ate a bunch of meat and I ate some muffins and I ate a bunch of bread and it was delicious and I felt really good about my decisions and meeting my needs and going my way and saying, yeah, this is part of who I am. And it is. But I'll tell you what, I noticed the difference in the way that my belly felt. It was heavy. I ate some things while I was in the middle of my shift at work. And previous to that, I had been eating mostly fruits and vegetables and some like plant protein type stuff like nuts and beans. And then I went the other way on it. I went back into my old habits and I felt heavy. I felt really heavy. And that's okay. It's cool to witness. No harm, no foul. But I think that I want to be more intentional about what kind of foods I bring to work with me. I want to bring foods that give me energy and don't bring me down because I want to be able to power through and feel good throughout my work shift. And maybe save the heavy foods for when I'm home at night and going to be cozy. I want to raise these vibrations though. It feels good. It feels really good. And it's also really fun to explore what food's doing. Okay, so back to the joy. The food. I love this guy. He smells so good. Oh, it's like Christmas. It's like, oh. Alright, rosemary. There's so much here. I don't need the whole thing. I'm going to take the top. The top of the rosemary is the younger, more tender leaves. When you have the tender stuff, it's actually easier to digest. You get a little bit more nutrition out of it. It's like when people cook young chicken or young veal or cows or whatever they do. It's softer. It's tender. So that's what I'm going to do. Alright, I picked up all my little baby tender leaves. And I'm going to... That's too strong. I'm going to stick them in a little pile and I'm going to mince them up very tiny. Rosemary tends to be pretty hard plant. Especially when you cook it, it doesn't really soften it. It kind of just like makes it harder. So I like to take my time and cut very tiny little pieces of rosemary. So I've got my onions cooking on, I guess the stove's on 3 right now. Do I want it higher? I don't know. It looks pretty good. So I've got my onions in coconut oil on medium-low. And now that they're like halfway cooked, they're a little bit sweated, tiny bit of caramelization happening. I think now is a good time to throw in the rosemary and let it sort of flavor up and fumigate through the onions. Like I said, I don't really know where I'm going when I make food. I just kind of go for it. Which is why it's hard for me to write a recipe and plan it out and make it. No. Life, you can't plan out life. You can kind of get an idea of where you're going, but it's really best to just go with the flow. Okay, actually I'm not going to stir it in. So I just put my rosemary on top of my onions. Oh, you see that? Oh, there it is. And I'm just going to let it sit on top. The point of letting it sit on top, the steam from the onions is going to come up and start warming up that rosemary, which is going to start pushing out some of the flavor oils onto the onions, and in a little bit I'll stir it. Okay. So I've got this cute, what's it called? Acorn squash. I'm going to scoop it out, and it's already cooked, but I might want to caramelize it a little bit more, get a little bit more roast on it. That tends to bring out some more of the sweet flavor, which I love the sweet, which is also why I've got the pears. I really noticed these last couple days while I was allowing myself to dive back into my old habits of food and just eat the things that I love eating. I've got a major sweet tooth. I've got a huge sweet tooth. And something that was extra funny to me is as soon as I would allow myself to dive into something like a blueberry muffin, which is my favorite, I would be full. My belly would be full and I could feel it full, but I wanted more. I wanted more. Talk about a food addiction. The other thing that was funny that would happen after that is I would feel guilty. I would feel guilty about it. I would start judging myself. And there's no need to do that. It's okay. It doesn't matter. It moves through my body and my body's fine. And on to the next day. It's just something to witness and observe rather than judge. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I can smell the rosemary from the onions while I'm eating the pear. And that's going to be a great combination. So this pear, this green one that I took, is soft but kind of firm. It's like the perfect kind of pear where it's not too crunchy and not too juicy. Alright. I think what I want to do for this is keep the pear fresh. So I'm going to cut up this pear into, basically when I'm cutting and choosing how I want to cut up things, I kind of just imagine how would be the easiest way to eat it. So I'm going to do really thin, super thin, 1-inch slices. Yeah. Cool thing about that size is it opens up the flavor, so you can really get a good overall sense of the flavor without chewing it all away, and you get a whole lot more of it. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing with my avocado. That's the one thing that's weird here. I've got an avocado. I don't know how it fits into this flavor palette. Does it? Do I even use it? What am I doing here? I don't know. I got the avocado because it fits into my needs for having green things and natural sources of fat, which I also have from the coconut oil. Okay, these onions are talking to me. They're like, hey, it's time to stir. Oh, yep. Time to stir. They were just like this close to burning. Perfect. Okay. Oh man. So yeah, I just don't understand how this avocado is going to fit into the whole thing. Maybe I'll just put it on the side and explore the flavors and see how they mix. See if they mix or not. But, you know, I don't have to mix the whole meal together. I can have like a side of like this weird mix of vegetables and just like salted avocado on the side. Oh, but I really like the avocado because then I have the contrasting color. Also, part of my art form is playing with the colors. You eat with your eyes before your mouth. Okay. So I'm going to leave this pear out. I might explore that guy later. And I'm ready to start creating my picture. Do 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 do. Okay, so I haven't played with these acorn squash very much, but I figure they're kind of like all the other squash, but they're a little funny because they've got these ridges in it, so it's sort of hard to get the bits out. Something that does help with squash to get them out of their skin and shell is what I've done. Cooked it. I cooked it for an hour in the oven at 350, just in a pan. I put coconut oil all over the top of it before I put it in, so it just kind of helps with the roasting process and it doesn't dry out so much. And then I let it sit here out of the heat and let it rest. Resting is a really important thing with food. I often just dive right into a meal right when it's like fresh off the heat, and then it burns my mouth and the flavors haven't had time to settle, so I don't really taste it. So, something to note. You don't have to serve the food right away. It doesn't have to be 300 degrees to be delicious. It needs to be, about 90. Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna pour all of this acorn squash. Keep forgetting what it's called. Onto my plate. So I cut it into these cubes, but it's sort of just squishing out, not so pretty, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. So this dish that I'm making right here would be the perfect amount to feed 2 people. Me and myself. Me for breakfast and me for lunch, which is what I really like to do. It's been working out really good to plan my day ahead. When you're cooking fresh food all the time, it's hard to cook a full, healthy meal for yourself 3 times a day. Heck, it's even hard like twice a day. So I just like to make a whole lot of extra food the one time a day that I'm in the mood to make delicious food. And then I set myself up for success and I don't get starving hungry and do what I did these last few days and eat all kinds of food that doesn't make me feel the best. It was really good though. One thing I really like to do with food when I am eating out is asking for a surprise. I like to, I'm not a very picky eater in general. I've been picky because I've been eating better food. But the things that I like, the things that pleasure me, there's like 2 or 3 things I don't like. Conventional barbecue sauce, like any barbecue sauce out of a bottle, it's kind of gross. Wasabi, aka horseradish, gross. And with that, some like mustards that are made with that. And blue cheese. I wish I liked blue cheese, but I just don't. And some other cheeses have that like blue cheese flavor-ish, and I can kind of deal with it. So I'm always trying to like these things. All right. Making my heart picture here. So I started a job at Albertsons a few months ago, and I started in the grocery department, or not the grocery, the cashier department, just bagging groceries, kind of get my foot in the door, get myself grounded, figure out where I want to go. Of course, I wind up realizing that I need to go work in the kitchen. So I'm heading that direction. but I'm just starting out doing dishes. And these guys don't know that I'm going to work there yet. Some of them don't. They've kind of seen me around, but I'm like, okay, time to get to know these people. Get to know these cooks and what they do. So I'm like, all right, I'm eating whatever I want. I go up to the counter. I ask this very nice girl for a surprise. Hey, I'm hungry. Make me something. Which is really fun for me. I love to let other people be the artists and create whatever they want. It's fun to not have limitations sometimes, you know? Okay, avocado. This is what I like to do, is just cut through it, not through the skin, but all the way down to the skin, and make little cubes. Especially with an avocado like this, he's kind of a little bit harder than, like, not quite as ripe as I want it. That's okay. I'm gonna scoop them out. Oh no, went into the oven. Gonna have to clean that out. Okay. So yeah, I asked for a surprise. And you know what? She made me the most delicious turkey sandwich I have ever had. And it even had some, and I gave her no limitations. I decided this time to like go ahead and open my mind to the things that I maybe don't like and try it. Like, what's the worst that could happen? Maybe there's something on there that is like super disgusting and I could just pick it off. Well, inevitably, there was something that I don't like, but it wasn't so bad. It was brie cheese, and brie cheese has that kind of funky flavor, but it's super mild that that blue cheese has. It was fine. I got past it. The rest of the sandwich was so good. There was avocados, jalapenos, all this delicious turkey, this really amazing roll that it was on. Man, it was so much food, and I ate it for lunch, and I ate the whole thing. Oh. Yeah, afterwards I was definitely slower, but I was happy. I was joyed, I enjoyed it. And I think that's perfectly okay. It's okay to enjoy different things sometimes. You don't have to stick to a strict diet all of the time, unless you need to for like your own stuff. But I am super fortunate that I don't. Except I think I am getting more sensitive. I ate some peanut butter today. Before I make these videos, I gotta eat something because then I have a clearer head about where I'm going and what I'm doing, and I'm not just like, give me the food. I actually have the patience to sit here and make this heart. So I'm looking around, and I'm in a kitchen that I haven't cooked in before, and just like poking around in the fridge and seeing what there was, and I'm like, I haven't had any protein today, and I found some peanut butter in the fridge. And I was like, yeah, I'll take a spoonful of peanut butter. And something inside of me told me that like I wouldn't like it, that it wasn't the thing, don't go there. And I just was so hungry, I did. I took a spoonful and I started eating it, and I didn't even have to finish the spoonful before it started hurting my belly. And I was like, dang it, I didn't listen. Whatever. Okay, this is where I'm at so far. We've got squash on the outside, avocado on the inside, and okay, so I've got all of this rosemary like cooked into here, but remember when I was eating the pear and it smelled really good with the rosemary next to the pear? Yeah, I want to mix some more rosemary into my pears. Super excited for this. The squash has kind of a starchy texture to it, like a thicker, more carbs, sort of like potatoes. So that's going to help me feel full for a long time. And same with the avocado. With the fat content, that helps you feel full and it digests slower. The pear gives us the sweet thing. The onion gives some flavor and, of course, some immunity boost. And then the rosemary is packed with vitamins. It's like my green thing. There's not very much of it, but it's still there. I've got some green. The thing I'm missing today in this is some protein, but I'm over protein right now. My belly is like still hurting from that peanut butter, so I can sit there and wait. Okay, how do I want to do this? I don't know. I'm just going to put these pears right in the middle of my heart, because of course the sweet is at the center of my heart. The fruit, it's all about the fruit. My dad would always call us fruit cake. That would be, oh, stop being such a fruit cake. Or, what are you doing, fruit cake? Little did he know that he was calling it exactly as it was. Okay, man, this plate is full. This is so much food. This might be 3 meals for me. Or not. Might be 2. Alright, onions. Just gonna go around and cover up my avocado. Like I said, I just didn't really know where this avocado was going. It's kind of just going to be this hidden treasure in this meal. Oh, that would be actually really cool. If I was like feeding this to somebody and I brought out this plate of heart deliciousness and I was like, here you go. And then they discovered a little surprise inside. That's fun. Surprises are fun. Surprise. This is a pear surprise. Is that what we're calling it? We're calling it pear surprise. Purpose of life right here, people, is eating delicious food and expanding out from our usual ways of living and finding beauty in new things. Alright, I've got to try this. Gotta find a fork. Which drawer do the forks live in? There they are. Okay, I'm gonna try a bite with all of the things. We got some avocado surprise in here. We got onions, acorn squash, and pears. Alright. Yeah. I dig it. That rosemary really makes a difference in this flavor palette. Oh, you know what I'm missing? Salt. Yeah. This is some really big, like, coarse salt. I think it'll be the perfect addition. So when you get like a crunchy bite of salt to go with all these flavors, it'll explode in your mouth. Yeah. I cooked this whole thing without salt. That's what I needed. I needed some salt. Great. If you want to add some protein, ooh, there's some black beans in the fridge. I could do that. That would be really good for my heart that I already destroyed, but that's okay. If I just put it around the outside edges. Yeah. Now I got some protein in this. It's really important to have protein, especially if you want to build strong muscles, which I do. I feel like I always try to build muscles and I always just am like the same, but it's actually one of my goals to start building some more muscle. So I'm going to do so. Oh yeah, see, there we go. That's the contrast we needed. We needed something black. Okay, well, that's my food and discussion for the day. I'll see you guys next time.